Hello friends, I'm Kate. This is Diamond Painting and Dr. Pepper, and today I have my monthly WiP update for you, my month in review as it were, and I'm going to talk about the diamond paintings that I worked on in August, and I do have a couple finishes to show you, and then also at the end I talk about the books I read and stuff like that. So if you're only here for diamond painting, you can click away after I'm done with the diamond painting stuff. And if you want to hear all the book talk and everything, stick around till the end. Okay, we're going to get right into it, starting with my finishes for August. So I finished 2 kits. The first one is Enchanted Forest by Safina Art. This one was a round. It was only 42.6 by 42.6 centimeters, so pretty small. I wanted like a snack size-ish project to work on over the month, or well, it didn't even take that long, but before Drills and Chills was starting up. So I started this on July 24th and I finished it on August 8th. And it was such a blast to do. I really love how it turned out, and the special drills in the background were so much fun to place. I don't know that I've worked on a kit with quad cubes before that, but I really liked working with them, so that was exciting. And the little unicorns, oh, they're so pretty. Yeah, just a fun kit all around. So there's that one, and then my second finish in August is The Way of Kings. This is by Dragon Steel, which is a company that was founded by my favorite author, Brandon Sanderson. And this artwork is an artist's rendition of basically the first book in his Stormlight Archive series. So I think he commissioned the artwork, so it's not technically fan art, it's official art, but I was so excited to be able to have artwork of my favorite series, even if the quality was less than what I'm used to as far as both render and drills go. This was a round drill kit. It was 86 by 45 centimeters, and the render was definitely computer rendered, and the drills were acrylic rather than resin, which I'm used to hand rendered kits and resin drills, so this was kind of new for me. But yeah, and close up the render is pretty rough, especially where it's supposed to be showing people's faces and stuff. Far away it looks okay, still not like great, but I'm so glad to be able to have done a kit of my favorite book series. I'm just happy to have it. So it was fun. I wish it was better quality, but I was grateful to be able to have this as a diamond painting. So really glad I did it. I started this on February 18th and I took it real slow and I finished it August 11th. So that's Way of Kings. And those are my 2 finishes for the month of August. So now we'll talk a little bit about my WiPs that I'm carrying forward into September. First off, I'll talk about the Months of the Year Mini Dazzle set, because this is an ongoing WiP that I started in January and that I will have till the end of December. So basically, I do one little mini dazzle every month, and it's the one that corresponds to that month of the year. So in August I did the August mini dazzle, and in September I'll be doing the September one. So wow, there's only 4 more to go and we're done with the year. That's crazy. So yeah, the August one was adorable. I loved the picnic blanket with the watermelon. It definitely said summer to me, and the little ship in the background was really cute. So fun one to do. And then my next WiP is actually the only one I have going right now, which is Witch Bedroom by Mrs. Butter D. This is a square drill kit. It is 42.9 by 60.7 centimeters. And so pretty small, but I started this one to be kind of like a crossover kit. It's going to carry me out of summer and into Drills and Chills. And so it's got a witch in there, which is very Drills and Chills, but the colors say summer to me. They're all warm and fuzzy. So I'm really enjoying working on this, and I started it on August 14th, so pretty much halfway through the month. And so far I have gotten this much done, and I only have 5 big sections left. I did section this one off into larger sections than usual because I knew that most of it was going to be pretty color blocking heavy, and I was hoping that I could get through the kit quicker if I did larger sections. And since this kit is older and didn't have a perforated cover, I thought it would be the perfect time to try larger sections and see what I think. And so far what I think is that it doesn't seem to take that much longer to do a section like this than it would to do one of the little 4x4 sections I'm more used to. It's just that in my mind it should take longer. So if I get to the point where it's like, do I go ahead and start another section, or should I stop now because it's getting late or whatever? I will more often decide not to start another section because I feel like it's going to take too long. So that's been something interesting I've noticed about working with larger sections, but it does seem to be more efficient as far as with a kit like this that has a lot of color blocking, as far as how much of it I can get done in a sitting. I feel like the larger sections are helping with that. And of course it depends on the section. Some have more confetti than others, and those do take, like, usually a 4x4 section will take me around an hour, give or take, a standard section. These take more like an hour and 15 minutes to an hour and 45 minutes, depending on how much confetti is in there. So yeah, just little differences I've noticed. I don't know yet if I want to go ahead and just finish this one off before I start my first Drills and Chills kit, which is going to be Halloween Cat by Puffy Gator. I haven't kitted that one up yet, and I don't know if I want to do that and kind of flip back and forth between the two of them, or if I just want to finish this one and then start the next one. I do often like having a couple kits going that I can, roll my WiP wheel and not necessarily know what I'm going to work on next, because it is kind of a motivation to finish a section, because then I get to spin the wheel and see what's next, and it's exciting. So I might do that. I guess I'll see how I'm feeling. I feel like since I only have 5 sections left to go on this one, that I almost should just go ahead and finish it. But yeah, jury's still out on that one. I'm not sure. So that, I think, is all that I have to update you on my finishes and WIPs. The only other thing I have to talk about is what I purchased this month, which I started talking about last month, and you guys seem to like that. So this month I am shocked to say that I only made one order in the month of August, and it was a restock order, or like I did get one new release, but it wasn't a new release for that, like a weekend drop. I was getting a restock, and I got a recent release with my restock. So what restocked that I really wanted to get was Sleepy Fairy by Jamushka or Jamaica Murphy. I had missed out on that one. I think it was released on either Black Friday or Cyber Monday last year, and I missed out on it, and I regretted it. So when it came back in stock this time, I was like, I'm gonna get that. So I got that one, and then while I was at it, I also got Prideful Pear by DC, and I really love how the render turned out on that one, and it's kind of another small snack size kit, kind of like Sleepy Fairy, and I thought it would be fun to add a few more of those to my stash, because really most of my kits are pretty large, because I tend to like the artwork that has to be rendered larger. So when there's artwork I like that's smaller, I'm like, yeah, I should pick that up just to switch it up. And then speaking of smaller kits, while I was at it with that order, I also purchased the National Parks set of Mini Dazzles and the Fairy Tales Mini Dazzles. and the Houseplants Mini Dazzle sets. So several Mini Dazzle sets that I had missed out on earlier. I was glad they were still in stock, and eventually I hope to pick up more of these sets. I just have gotten a bit behind with my Mini Dazzles purchasing, so I had to catch up a little bit with this order and get some of these kits that I had missed out on that I'm really excited to work on at some point. So that is it for my diamond painting updates. I do want to show you one other thing that I finished this month that I have been working on for a while because I'm slow at it. But I did finish a coloring page from one of my Disney Mystery Color by Numbers. So if you're interested in seeing that, then I will show it to you, but just so you know, it's kind of a spoiler for this book family. So if you don't want to see it, if you have this book and you don't want to be spoiled for anything that's in here, look away. But otherwise, this is the one I finished, and I think it turned out super duper cute. I decided on this one to go ahead and use alcohol markers. I don't usually do that because it does bleed through to like whatever's on the back, you can see. So I went through the back of the book and spoiled myself for what some of the pages were and picked a page where I was interested in what was on the front side, but I didn't care about the image that was on the back. And this is the one I went with. And it was so nice because the colors look nice and smooth, and I had a lot more colors to choose from because I have a lot more colors with alcohol markers than I do with like my other options for coloring. So that's this. This is from my favorite Disney movie, and I'm really happy with how it turned out. It's super cute. So there's that. Okay. Now we're going to talk about books. So if you were only here for the diamond painting portion, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in my next video. And if you would like to hear about the books I read this month, stay tuned. So in August, I read a total of 8 books, and then I have a few more that I am also in the middle of reading, so we'll talk about those later. So the first book I read in August was The Book That Wouldn't Burn. It is book 1 in the library trilogy by Mark Lawrence, and I loved it. So it had a lot of interesting references to other works of fiction I thought were very fun to kind of catch as I was reading along. And the story itself had everything I love in a story. It had time travel and just huge, kind of almost creepy, mysterious library, which is so much fun, and lots of mystery to try and figure out. It was a good time. So I love that one, The Book That Wouldn't Burn by Mark Lawrence. Highly recommend. The next one I read after that was Daisy Jones and the Six. This one is not my typical style. This is by Taylor Jenkins Reid, and it's more of a contemporary fiction, but it's based on a fake documentary of a fake band from the 1970s, and the book is written as if all the people involved are being interviewed, and you're reading the interviews, and it creates a whole story as if you're reading an autobiography or something from the band itself. So that was fun. Like I said, it wasn't my usual style, but I still enjoyed it by the end. I gave it 4 stars. The Book That Wouldn't Burn, I gave 5 stars, by the way. But this one I gave 4 stars because it was better than I thought it was going to be when I first started reading it. I got into it by the end, so it was good. And then third, I read The Butcher's Masquerade, which is the 5th book in the Dungeon Crawler Carl series by Matt Dinneman. And that was another 5-star read. But I can't get enough of Dungeon Crawler Carl. It's so much fun. And I'm sad that there's only 2 more books out so far that I get to read. So at this point, I'm kind of like, I really, really want to know what happens, but I also kind of want to take it slow because I'll be out after I'm done with the next 2. So I don't want to talk about too much what happened in this one because it is the 5th book in a series, but things are getting a lot more deep and real and political, and I love it. So yeah, that was The Butcher's Masquerade. And then I read Caraval, which is by Stephanie Garber, and I had started reading that book a year ago because I had gotten it on Libby, and things got really busy in my life, and I only got partway through before I had to return it to the library, so I didn't finish it back then, and I finally got it again through Libby and was able to finish it this time. And it kept me guessing. It's kind of a mystery, and I love to try and guess the ends of those, and I did not guess this one, so that was kind of cool, and I liked how it ended up. So this one is kind of about a kind of like a traveling circus sort of thing, but it's more than that. It's like an interactive game, but partway through you start to wonder, is this really a game or are these things really happening? And there's a love interest, and it's very cool. I enjoyed it, and I would probably read more of this series. I gave this one 4 stars. But yeah, I'm glad I was able to finish it, and I'm looking forward to reading the rest of that series at some point. All right, next I read Terror at the Gates by Scarlett St. Clair, and this is book 1 in a series that doesn't have any more books out yet. So as a standalone, I felt like it could have been better because it did not resolve much of what it set up in book 1. So it really needs the rest of the series, and hopefully once the rest of the series is written, it will tie up all those loose ends that it opened up in book 1. For me personally, I do prefer if there's a bit more of a completed feeling for at least part of what happens in a book by the end of it, and I felt like it asked a lot of questions and it only answered maybe 1 or 2. And so I am looking forward to reading the second book when it comes out. And I did like the writing style, and I liked the romance that was in this book. And I liked, this one had a lot of like commentary on religion, specifically how patriarchal religion can cause problems for, everyone involved, not just women, but also men. And it's interesting because it refers to the Christian Bible, but the world that it takes place in is not our world. And it adds some things that are kind of tangentially biblical, but not biblical in canon. And so I'm excited to see more of that in book 2 and what those things mean, because it wasn't explained very well in book 1. So I will be interested to see if it really connects those dots in the next one. So yeah, I gave that one 4 stars too. Then I read a kind of short little book called The River Has Roots by Amal El Motar. And Amal El Motar is one of the 2 writers who wrote This Is How You Lose the Time War, which I also read this year. But I actually liked this one even better than that one, because I liked that one a lot. But this was gorgeous. It's like a Celtic fairy tale, and it was written beautifully. And I listened to the audiobook, and the audiobook actually had singing and music in it. So it was beautifully performed, and it read like I was reading a really old fairy tale, but it's a new book. So I just absolutely loved that one and recommend it to anyone who likes the fairy tale style, especially like Celtic fairy tales. I love that one. That was a 5-star read. After that, I knew that I was going to get another book soon in my Libby app, because it was almost popping up, and so I needed a filler, and I felt like I really wanted to read something that was kind of like a mystery thriller, and I have a limited amount of books like that in my library, at least on Audible, because sometimes I'll pick up deals where you can like buy one, get one free, And at some point I must have picked up this book. It's called NPC by Jeremy Robinson. And it, I guess, fit the criteria I was looking for, but the murder mystery portion of it was a very small portion of the entire book. Most of it was about musings on simulation theory, and which is, if you don't know about simulation theory, it is basically, I've heard it called like the Matrix theory. Basically, our world is a very advanced simulation. We're all a computer program, just like The Sims, but way more advanced. And that's a real theory that's out there to explain our world, and it's one that I think is really interesting. And so I was very interested in how this book talked about simulation theory, and during the book you're kind of wondering, wait, is this really evidence within the book that simulation theory is real, or is this somebody who isn't all mentally there, or is there some weird stuff going on? So I really enjoyed that part of the book. The only issue that I had with it basically is that as I was reading it, I was noticing some language. One of the main characters in this book is a reverend or a pastor, and he's kind of questioning his faith and stuff like that. And then the other one, I don't think he was fully atheist. It didn't really spell it out. But just some of the things that were said by some of the characters in the book kind of, I think, was more reflecting the author's point of view, as far as things like, well, if there's no lawgiver, like if there's no creator, then what's the point of not just going out and unaliving people or doing whatever I want, because what's to stop me if there's no heaven or hell and things like that. And I feel like that's a really almost cliche accusation that people who are atheist or non-believers think that way. It's rhetoric that I've heard a lot from the theist side when I'm watching content online about religion, because even though I'm an atheist, religion is one of my special interests. I really enjoy researching about religions and watching different content, debates or other things about religion. And so I've seen a lot of people discuss these issues, and a lot of the things like the ones I was talking about are mentioned a lot and often debunked by the other side, but it seems like, the one side isn't listening because they keep making the argument again anyway. So when I hear things like that, I'm thinking to myself, okay, so this sounds like a very Christian thing to say, who hasn't spoken to a lot of atheists and done their research on how atheists would think. So that's what kind of frustrated me when I was reading this book. And at the end of the book, there was like a little insert from the author talking about how he is a Christian and he likes to write books like this to sometimes kind of just explore things, which is cool. I just found that part a little bit frustrating because it did seem like it was coming from someone who hadn't engaged with the other side all that much. And so when I find representation like that in a book, but it's coming from a place of ignorance about what that type of person is more likely to think, it's frustrating. So I gave it 3 stars. It was still a good book. I still enjoyed the simulation theory part of it and stuff. But yeah, that just soured it a little bit for me. Okay, and then after that, I managed to get on my Libby app the second book in the library trilogy, which is the book that broke the world. And it's funny because I started the month with the first book and then ended the month with the second book in that series. And the second book I thought was still really good. So I gave it 5 stars. I'm very excited that I know that second books sometimes have the issue where it's like you're kind of in the thick of the story, so not much exciting can happen. You're just kind of setting up the finale. But I think in this one, he did a good job of making it still really interesting and making a lot of stuff still happen that matters a lot to the story. It was very eventful. I'm not going to talk about it too much because it's the second book in a series, but yeah, really good. So that is all of the books that I finished in the month of August, but I did get 70% of the way through my current read, which is The Mortal Night by Michael Cronk. It is the second book in his first trilogy that he has written, and it's not really a trilogy because I think they're all supposed to be kind of standalone books, and there may be more coming down the line, but this is his like second novel that was debuted at the same time as his first and third novels. He wrote them all and then released them all at once. And so I am reading the second one now because the audiobook just got finished. And so I really am enjoying it, although I'm not done with it, so I can't tell you what I'll think overall. But anyway, that one is called The Mortal Night, and it's basically an urban fantasy. It has vampires and shapeshifters and wizards, but all taking place in like the normal world. So kind of fun. And then the other two books that I'm currently still reading are Aurora Burning, which I have been reading for quite a few months now, but I did get a little further in it this month. The reason it's taken me so long is because I'm mostly an audiobook reader and this is a physical book. And so it's only when I feel like I want to read a physical book that I'll get any progress made on this one. And I did feel like reading physically sometimes this month, so I got several more chapters read. But we're not through it yet. And then the last one that is in my current reads is The Night Circus by Erin Morgenstern. And that is the one that I am reading with my two older kids. And so we are kind of breaking it up into sections, and then we all finish the section before we can move on to the next one. So it goes a little bit slower because they're all reading other books too. So that one will probably be on my reading list for a while I wait for, everyone to catch up to each section. And sometimes it's me that holds it up. And that's everything that I read in August. So I would love to hear down below about anything you read this month, or any diamond paintings you worked on, or if you're joining in on Drills and Chills and you picked your Drills and Chills kit, let me know which one it is. That's so much fun. I love Drills and Chills. But yeah, that said, thank you so much for watching, and I will DAC you in the next video. Bye, everybody.